Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Chiron Sextile or Trine one's natal Venus. Now, this transit may manifest in physical and emotional wounds, helping and healing others, depleted self-esteem, and that being in harmony with what you love, your enjoy, your relationships, significant friendships, and I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. This is not about you know, um, having depleted self-worth, being something that you love and enjoy. But what it is, it's about, doing things that you may love and enjoy to counter any depleted self-esteem. If you're, say, if your natal Venus is in Aquarius, it could be the enjoyment of doing something associated with astrology or astronomy, innovation, even electronics, computers, as some examples. It's a time as well, when this, when you have this transit, if you're dealing with anything, any kind of physical or emotional trauma, people that are significant friendships, and even if you're in a romantic connection, these people can be beneficial to you in dealing with those issues, at this time. Now, what I want to state is, the transit of Chiron. This is not, it doesn't, of course, supplant or replace your natal Chiron placement. Your natal Chiron placement is there for the entirety and duration of your life. This is the transit of Chiron. When you have this transit, as an example, the sextile and trine to the natal or trine to the natal Venus. This is, something that could be a positive transit during the time of the transit, or if there is any kind of suffering associated with the transit of the Chiron, and it's being helped by relationships or significant friendship. This is something that could be just going on during the time of the transit. And what I want to also state is, some of you may wonder, well, what is the difference between the sextile or trine transit and the conjunction transit? Well, the thing is, the sextile and trine aspects, of course, those are auspicious, those are flowing, positive aspects. It's a good blending generally when you're talking about, in this case, of the transit of Chiron and the natal Venus. But when you have the conjunction, conjunction, they're similar. The conjunction to the sextile and trine aspects, they are comparable, but they're not precisely and exactly the same. The conjunction is more amalgamating, intensifying, and integrating. It's a strong concentration. In this case, the example with Chiron and Venus, you could have, like, say, let's say if the transit Chiron was making a conjunction, to your natal Venus, that could be very, it could be a point where people that, your significant friendships, relationships, they may be, very strongly involved, maybe trying to, help you deal with some kind of emotional, physical suffering, but it could be to the exclusion of other things. You're oblivious to other things in your life, or in some cases, it could actually be there might be some suffering in connection with that, relationship you're in or significant friendship. Keep in mind, this is, neutral. Conjunctions are neutral, while the Chiron sextile or trine aspect is more flowing. Again, it's more of a good relationship of the energies that are involved, and it doesn't affect you as much to the point where you could be oblivious to other things in your life. Now, another thing about this as well, this is also a time where it could be positive if you're trying to heal any matters connected with self-worth at this time. If there's any suffering that's associated with that, if you have your natal Venus and Taurus, if there's something, could be have to do with money, or maybe lack of persistence on an issue, or maybe not feeling you're loyal or steadfast enough. It can be a time where it may be a time where you can have an opportunity to heal those wounds at this time, and it can be through some spiritual means if you are spiritual, that is. Now, Another thing too, let's say if you have, something anatomically going on with Venus, say something with the throat, the neck, the lower back, kidneys, or thyroid as an example, as some examples. This could be a time where it could be an opportunity to take care of those problems, alleviate those issues, have, healer, a doctor, physician. It can be a time where it's auspicious to take care of those matters at this time, and being able to do so, with little delay or distraction or diversion at this time. Um, Another thing too, it's also a time, when you have, this transit as well. It can also be a time where if you're involved, doing anything, you know, say if you're doing something else Venus related, such as something, with artistic endeavors, this could be a time where those things can be advantageous toward dealing with some kind of, suffering you may be going through at this time. At the time of this video, that I'm making this video, transit Chiron, of course, is in Aries. Many people, collectively, this time may be dealing, there may be some issues with identity or feelings of, unworthiness at this time. Maybe there's some issues, with courage or, confrontation, and being able to, assert oneself. And when you have, this transit, like in that example, making a positive aspect to the natal Venus, this is a time where it could also be good about finding, some peace, and, finding that peace and quiet to be able to deal with those issues connected with the transit of Chiron. And also too, it can be a time where, again, going back to art, if you're involved in art and artistic endeavor, may be positive in you dealing with some kind of emotional or physical suffering. If you have, let's say, if you have the natal Venus in Pisces, it could be some form of abstract art or fictional or fantasy art. If the natal Venus is in Gemini, it could be like a cartoon form of art, animated art, as some examples. And it's also a time where it can be positive for things regarding, negotiation, compromise, reconciliation, being able to use that as a means to deal, with any kind of, suffering you may be going through. And if there's any feelings of ineptitude or weakness that you may have, this is a time, again, where relationships and, including significant friendships, may be beneficial to you in dealing with that. And if there's anything that any, emotional pain, you're going through, regarding a lawsuit or legality, this is a positive time to be able to resolve, those issues. If there's anything that might be connected, again, with a legal issue, it could be a lawsuit, whether it's one that you put on someone or one that may have been put on you. This is a time also where, maybe taking legal action can be beneficial to some kind of suffering. It can be more advantageous for doing so at this time, more so than usual. And Venus is also about our attractiveness, so it can be an important time where, even if you're going, let's say you're going through some physical anguish, or there's some physical related trauma or pain, that the way you appear, your attractiveness is not going to reflect, likely not going to reflect the pain you may be going through, and which could be positive, of course. So anyway, now another way this transit may manifest, it could be positive for helping and healing, which is Chiron. Others, connected, through values, which is Venus. Let's say if the natal Venus is in Gemini, those values may be connected with being versatile, articulate, street savvy, having street sense, being shrewd, being able to hold a conversation, being able to multitask as some examples, and encouraging others, to express those qualities. And maybe that is a way that could help and heal others at this time, dealing, with whatever, it is they're going through. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back, but anyway. And also, too, at this time, if there's any, say, there may be issues with depleted self-esteem, it may be dealt with by excelling in things that you enjoy, which is Venus. And the issues with depleted self-esteem, of course, is Chiron. Now, let's say if the natal Venus is in Sagittarius as an example, it could be doing activities associated with sports, the outdoors, college education, publishing, adventure as some examples. This could also be a time where it's propitious to deal with suffering, which is Chiron, and being assisted by relationships, significant friendships, which is Venus. Let's say if the transit Chiron is in Capricorn as an example in the 5th house, it could be dealing with, authoritative or callous, which is Capricorn. It could be lovers or children, which is the 5th house. Now also too, at this time, physical and emotional trauma, which is Chiron, may be helped. It could be, as I was stating before, through artistic expression. Let's say if the natal Venus is in the zodiac sign Cancer, that art could be nostalgic or just done in the home. Maybe there's depictions of food as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.